Hello everybody, welcome back to It's Current Year for another quick battle ladder replay, and I've got a bit of a treat for you today. We're playing Tlaqua and I'm taking Tiktaq'to, widely regarded one of the worst legendary lords in the game, but I think he may have a bit of a place in this head-to-head. So we'll go through my opponent's army. Donut Clan, I think it was, Moto. So he's got some Outriders out the front here. He also has some Demigryph Knights with Halberds. A front line of Spears. They are just the regular unshielded version, I believe. Some Great Swords over here, as well as some Handgunners. A couple of units of Huntsmen, which is not a bad pick against the Lizardmen. Good for screening Pterodons. Can put some damage, obviously, with their anti-large into monsters and that kind of thing. And then a couple of Halberds in the rear. So we've also got a Empire Captain rolling with the Halberds over here. So he will have the hold the line passive. Looks like nothing's really been taken on him other than that. So these guys getting I believe some charge defense and leadership. And we've also got a Grey Wizard who looks like it's taken Enfeebling Foe, Pendulum, and Wither. I believe that spell is. And he's got the Blasting Scroll and the Power Stone, leading the force. And this is why I think Tic-Tac may be able to do at least something in this matchup. Empire, Franz is quite a meta pick against the Lizardmen. He's obviously taken he hasn't taken Galmaraz. Interesting. Very interesting. So that's a mistake. You should always take Galmaraz against Lizardmen and those monster factions. You should probably just always take Galmaraz, period. But for my force, we have a very skink-centric force out of Tlaqua today. So we've got some skink cohorts with javelins, a couple of red-crested skinks, one of which is the cohort of Sotek with their not too horrible to die, but refuse to die. Good armor piercing and unbreakable. There's a skink priest of beasts there, pretty standard. Magical summons and Flock of Doom. We've got a pretty stacked flank on this side. We've got 2 units of Chameleon Skinks, as well as 2 units of Ripidactyls, one of which is the Colossodon Hunters. So good for, they'll potentially team up very nicely with Tic-Tac-Toe to take on Karl Franz. They are anti-large, but they can swoop down and do some damage to Demigryphs and things like that. And then we've got some Ripidactyls over here. So I'm really embracing the build. We've got Tic-Tac here with the Mask of Heavens and the Blade of Ancient Skies. So he's got some pretty decent stats when he's flying, and obviously the Mask of Heavens does buff his flying units around him. So in team with the other flyers, he will be quite a force multiplier. 2 units of Chameleon Skinks over here, as well as 2 Pterodon Riders. One is the Pohox Sentinel. So they're going to do some sniping early. We're going to get a nice engagement here, actually. So Outriders into Chameleon Skinks is a pretty inefficient trade, obviously with a fair bit of missile resistance here. And the poison's going to mean they can't quite get away. I probably want to screen these guys back a little bit. I don't actually want to take the fire on them. Bring the Javelins up, push them back, but we've almost got 1 unit off. We don't want to let Franz obviously come to grips with our Pterodons here, so yeah, we'll be microing them back. But Franz is going to swoop down. It's probably not a bad idea. Try and get a terror out. But if I do turn all my darts onto him, it's going to be pretty nasty for him. The damage will definitely stack up. Over this side, we are taking some direct fire. This is actually a Hellblaster. Sorry, I believe I missed this in the opening. But Hellblaster Volley Gun, a unit I really love. Love using. But we've got our Chameleon Skinks over here now, putting some pressure on the Handgunners, who I think had a shooting order, and they've sort of followed the Rippers now. So we are taking a little bit of fire, but we are getting some good damage onto the Handgunners. Likewise, throwing my Javelins there because I know there's not much armor to speak of there. So great amount of damage going down here. And now we're probably getting to the point where we can almost commit these guys to melee. Not with the Demigryphs, but we can maybe chase the Outriders off and maybe try and get some damage in. In the front lines, a bit of a Pendulum going down there. Not going to be too effective. Not really a great value target against the Red-Crested Skinks. Huntsmen are going to obviously help push off these Skink cohort Javelins along with Franz. A Manticore Summon has gone down, and we're not doing too well in this frontline fighting, as you can expect. Skink's not the hardiest of troops, but good play by my opponent here, actually, using the Empire Captain to push back my Chameleons. I need to be more on the ball there and separate them, do a few laps around him. Over here, the handgunners were, and the unit of Huntsmen here were chased off, and we're just going to now commit to trying to goon France. The Colossedon Hunters, as well as Tiktaq'to, have tried to shut I believe they were actually sent to get the Hellblaster volley gun, and this, on the ground, this is a fight that France maybe can take, but in the air, and there's an info on Tic-Tac-Toe here, but once this goes back up into the air, you can see the damage being done here to Carls, and this is the downside of not having a life caster when you take France. He can get gooned down very quickly, and there is the Emperor of Man, taken down by a skink riding a Flappy Bird. The Demigriffs trying to get involved over here, but they just don't really have a good target. You know, they're not really going to effectively get value on Chameleon Skinks or even just skink cohorts or, you know, really anything that I've taken. The cohorts now are just basically mucking them up. A bit of a pendulum going down here will do some damage to my Chameleon Skinks, but now we're just bouncing around with our flyers, picking things off. Good target here in the great swords for the Ripperdactyl riders. They'll swoop down and with their armor piercing and anti-large do a fair bit of damage. And now we're just hounding the handgunners, not letting them come back and get any decent value. Tic-Tac stabilized. He's very beaten up, but the Pohawk Sentinels and the Pterodons now are on sort of cleanup duty. We're going to send the red-crested skinks in here to screen and poison the Demigriffs, and it looks like they might be on skirmish mode, and they're getting a little bit confused about where to run because there's Spearmen here, Demigriffs here. The Skink Priest is getting involved as best he can. It's really just the Grey Wizard and the Empire Captain holding the balance of power together now. And as we take a bit of an overarching look, you know, the Pterodons here shooting off the Outriders. Over here, leadership starting to fail. And the Colossedon Hunters and the Ripperdactyls have found some good targets. And that's going to be the game. A pretty quick one there for Tic-Tac. So we'll see what kind of value he got. Not a lot. I don't know if he got a lot of hits in on Franz, but the Colossedon Hunters with 1800, 900 there on the Ripperdactyls. But you know they got some good damage. They finished off the handgunners. I think they swooped down onto the a unit of huntsmen as well, and they're still really healthy. We got a pretty good trade on the right flank into those handgunners. You can see there, not a great deal of value. They got dropped pretty quickly. The Greatswords got a lot of kills, but again, were able to just be held in place by cohorts and that kind of thing. And then the Ripperdactyls in the end really found their mark and got on top of them. And the Pterodons really didn't have a threat in the sky. They could kite away from Franz, who got 1,000 damage. It's not too bad, but yeah. Better damage than I actually would have anticipated on the Grey Wizard. He did get a good enfeebling foe down, which nearly allowed Franz to take down Tic-Tac-Toe, the mighty Tic-Tac-Toe. But a couple of decent pendulums. I actually didn't think the pendulums were that impactful, but that's actually a good return on the wizard there. Hellblaster got shut down pretty quick. I like the Hellblaster actually. It's pretty effective at taking out. It's actually not a bad pick against the Lizardman. It can tear through Lizardman infantry quite well, you know, Saurus and that kind of stuff, but it actually does have good damage potential against single entities. You can concentrate down, you know, Stegodons, Carnosaurs, that kind of thing, whatever you really see. It's a good dual-purpose artillery unit. I like using it. It's maybe not always as effective as committing to cannons or committing to mortars and just committing to sort of killing large or infantry. It is a little bit limited on range as well, but it's a unit that I have enjoyed using. And you see here, yeah, again, 117 kills, but 600 damage value. It's not a great return on the Demigriffs, which really had no target in this list outside of the Flyers, who could just dance around and sort of just avoid them. And then the Outriders picked off right from the start. So the Tlaqua Tic-Tac-Toe list earns the day. You know, pretty non-meta pick with Tic-Tac-Toe, but you know there were some meta elements blended in. A lot of value there on the Chameleon Skinks. Definitely got some pretty massive value between all three of them. But until next time, thanks for checking out the replay. Hope you enjoyed seeing Tic-Tac-Toe in action. Until next time, take care.